Yeah, go, 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 go. Behind the front, PC, behind the front.
What does it take to build a major police force from the ground up?
We do things that I've never done in my career.
That is our culture. It was an extra challenge when the municipal government changed.
I know the RCMP have been here for a long, long time.
I knew resistance would be very high, and I knew that it was going to be a very uphill battle.
It'll be poignant for us, bittersweet in some ways, to turn the reins over to the Surrey Police Service.
Surrey has long been the largest city in the country under local RCMP jurisdiction. But in the years leading up to the 2018 municipal election, mounting concerns of crime and public safety.
Surrey's 31st shooting of the year.
Shots fired, gang war.
Kind of tired of all the shootings in Surrey. I'm tired of guns. I'm tired of the syringes all over the streets.
Gang violence and the deadly drug crisis put city policing at the top of the ballot box.
We want our city safe again.
Mayoral candidate Doug McCallum pledged to replace the RCMP with a municipal police force, and he won.
You will be seeing your own Surrey Police Force.
At the first council meeting, a successful vote to terminate the city's contract with the RCMP set this colossal change in motion.
Policing is apolitical.
Meet Norm Lipinski, a guy we quickly learned runs on a tight schedule. He's also the Surrey Police Service's top cop, a job he landed in 2020.
We marked the beginning of Surrey's police transition.
What was it that drew you to SPS and kind of the challenge taking on this role?
That's it exactly. It is the challenge of taking on the role. I like to build things, I like to build teams, and here we are. It's a brand new organization. It's an ability to put my fingerprint on it.
And you could call this one of those fingerprints. This is where we first met Norm, leading a batch of fresh recruits for a ceremonial run with the chief, a tradition he picked up during his days in Edmonton.
In our recruit training there, we always ran with senior management.
We are the PD. We are the PD. The mighty, mighty PD. Mighty, mighty PD. SPS. SPS.
We always line up in twos because in policing you always have a partner. You got to depend on a partner. And then there's the cadence songs that we do, and that provides some sense of unity, that provides some sense of team.
These future officers headed next to BC's Justice Institute for 6 months of training, but not without some parting wisdom.
You have to have that place inside yourself where you can go to when the things get rough, and you pull that out, and you power through.
This cohort, part of a massive pipeline of officers needed to fill the force. The Surrey Police Service needs to hire 785 officers. It's about halfway there with 446 hired to date. The bulk of its recruits are experienced officers.
I was initially brought on by the Vancouver Police in 1998.
I've worked for the RCMP as well as municipal policing.
I joined the RCMP back in 2002, and my first posting was in fact Surrey, British Columbia.
That I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance.
First, officers are sworn in.
Switching organizations is a tough choice. I thank you for joining the SPS. And you're going to be part of history coming up November 29th.
Then 6 weeks of orientation and intense tactical training. The bulk of it takes place in a municipal warehouse turned training facility large enough to handle the hundreds of officers that still need to be hired.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
Among the latest cohort of SBS trainees is a familiar face, Lindsay Houghton, a former media officer for the VPD.
Officers will be linking up with investigators.
I'm not a young dog anymore, but it's fantastic training. They push you to the limits.
He'll be tackling the same role for the SPS, but not without sweating through intense training first. There's one-on-one gunfights. Simulations of officers attacked while in their vehicles. Walls are put up to mimic calls into tight buildings. And then there's actors.
They haven't seen her for a day.
Sam Grantham, a former officer in Port Moody, called to a jumper on a bridge.
It's not going to get any better.
I don't want you to quit. Will you come with me? Just come off the bridge.
Grantham is joining the SPS mental health team.
Did you pick up any triggers?
The parents?
Yeah.
She spent years in a similar unit in Port Moody.
That's where my heart is, helping people in crisis. People don't call the police when they're having a good day. They call us when they need help. So it was a great opportunity to get back into working specifically with people that are in crisis.
Are we following you?
Dylan Emery is a Surrey RCMP convert recruited by the SPS.
I had friends in the Surrey Police Service who'd moved over from various agencies. I'd been watching sort of the climate over there and the excitement level building. I think they reached out to me. It did come a little faster than I had expected, so there were a lot of quick decisions being made.
80% of SPS officers made the jump from other agencies. Many veteran officers of more than 2 decades.
Surrey Police Service, I think, is probably going to be the most experienced police agency in all of Canada, simply because you were able to bring over people that had finished their careers as senior officers. They can double dip. That's, be right up front. You're going to get your pension, and a police pension is a pretty good pension.
That's one of the reasons why the jump made sense for Inspector Chin Lee.
By the time they started hiring, I had about 25 to 26 years of service. And with the RCMP, after 25 years, you can retire with an unreduced pension.
Lee, a Surrey resident himself, takes us on a ride along. He became a Richmond RCMP officer at just 20 years old.
Starting your policing career at 20, having to attend these domestics where the people that you're dealing with are in their 40s, and trying to relate to them was nearly impossible.
Lee joined SPS in 2021, a year before everything flipped upside down. In 2022, mayoral candidate Brenda Locke campaigned to stop the police transition, citing ballooning costs and lengthy delays.
I'm very confident it is not too late.
And she won. Locke's council voted to scrap the transition. Pressure then turned to the province to make the final call: stick with the SPS or revert back to the RCMP.
There needs to be a proper plan put together that addresses the issues around adequate and effective policing.
With 400 officers and employees already hired, BC's public safety minister at the time ultimately decided it was best to forge ahead. Locke countered with a Supreme Court challenge, which failed, accepting defeat earlier this year.
The uncertainty around policing in Surrey has gone on too far and too long.
Locke's office has said little about the policing transition since. Our requests for an interview weren't answered. Critics say the delays cost the city tens of millions of dollars.
The largest impact is the cost factor. The wasted money that was spent on this schoolyard behavior dispute.
During that period of uncertainty, 36 SPS members left. 8 eventually came back.
That's been the most challenging time in the past 3 years, was when the uncertainty was in the air.
Lee is still perplexed the local government attempted to reverse course.
I don't understand how any local government would not be interested in having a say in their own police force. Like, when you think about it, you have a police force that has a police board that you, as the mayor, have a say in.
Chief, thank you so much.
As the transition day approaches, excitement, but also confusion as reports surface that a transition deal between the RCMP and SPS still isn't in place just 3 weeks out.
So we've got this little bit of conflict left in place.
The issue downplayed on both sides.
We're putting together final touches on the plan, so everybody understands what the plan is.
We will work with the Surrey Police Service to deliver the chief's priorities and objectives.
Both have since finalized plans to split up the city, with SPS taking on Newton and Whalley at first, while the RCMP polices South Surrey, Cloverdale, Fleetwood, and Guildford. The RCMP will technically report to the province as it scales down. The wind down will take 2 years to make sure policing stays consistent and give departing officers time to relocate. Equipment and signage is another big part of the equation. Dozens of police vehicles are getting transferred over. New decals printed at this warehouse.
Each car takes approximately 3 hours to remove the graphics. We've got to polish them up and then reinstall the graphics for about another 3 or 4 hours.
The handover ramps up as November 29th approaches. On the transition's eve, signs outside the Surrey RCMP detachment taken down for the first time in decades, marking the end of an era. It's just before midnight and we're outside the current Surrey RCMP detachment. The Chief Constable of SPS is going to make a historic broadcast to officers across the city. He's invited us inside to capture the moment.
This is Uniform 1, Chief Constable Lipinski, signing on for duty. All units, this marks the first official radio broadcast for Surrey Police Service as the City of Surrey's police of jurisdiction. We thank the Surrey RCMP for their 73 years of service and the members who continue to support policing in Surrey. Surrey Police Service, congratulations on this historic moment. To all members, take care of each other and stay safe.
A milestone 6 years in the making. The Surrey Police Service still far from a full force, but unquestionably in charge. John Hernandez, CBC News, Surrey.